I should be dead. And if I had died that day, my kids would have been left unprotected. Not because I didn't work hard, not because I didn't make money, but because I didn't have the right financial structure. My name is Marybell, and at that time, life looked good on paper. I had income, I had assets, I had a business I was proud of. From the outside, I looked successful, but behind the scenes, everything was fragile. I was overworking, I was under extreme stress, my business grew faster than my systems, and my body paid the price. A year and a half ago, my body shut down. Cardiac arrest, pancreatitis, near liver failure, gallbladder stones, fluid in my lungs that had to be pumped out. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I was severely dehydrated. Doctors had to induce me into a coma to prevent seizures. That coma likely saved my life. While I was fighting for my life, something else almost collapsed. My family. I had no health insurance. I had just resigned from a job I loved. I procrastinated. I assumed I was healthy. Here's something most people don't know. If you're hospitalized without health insurance, hospitals can legally access your life insurance death benefit to cover medical bills. My medical bills totaled $275,000. That money would have come directly out of my $850,000 life insurance policy, the only protection I thought my kids had, and it was not a good policy. What was really at risk? At the moment, this was my reality. I owned property, $600,000 to $700,000 in combined mortgages, no living trust, no clear plan. If I had died, my assets would have gone into probate. My children couldn't access my bank accounts. My family would have paid $30,000 to $40,000 just to get my properties back. Everything would have been delayed for months or perhaps even years. And one of my children is autistic. That means lifelong care. I didn't just risk money, I risked stability care. And certainly for my children, there's something else I need to understand. One of my children is autistic. That's not a phase, that's not temporary, that is 24-hour responsibility for the rest of his life. If I had died, who would have made his decisions for him? Who would have managed his money for his care? Who would make sure he was protected and not taken advantage of? Without a proper trust, that responsibility doesn't just pass automatically. It gets delayed, it gets challenged, and it gets expensive. I wasn't just risking money. I was risking his care, his stability, and his future. The realization hit me harder than anything else. At this point, I want you to hear from someone who wasn't in the hospital bed, but was watching it all happen.
Since we have a lot of stuff that's kind of intertwined when it comes to business and real estate and stuff like that, I was scared for my sister, but at the same time, I was thinking about all the stuff that we have together that we have to take care of, that we had nothing in place. Pretty much real estate, that's what it is, but it's quite substantial. And that was a big thing that, nothing was in place. There's no trust. There's no nothing. And I mean, of course, we're scared for my sister and stuff like that. But the reality is there's other stuff that comes with that too, right? Because that's after the fact, but it is a reality. So being prepared before would have made everything more easier, but it wasn't. It was actually harder because Jess had to be at the hospital. She was actually at the hospital every day with her, pretty much, and taking care of her while me and my father were taking care of the business and trying to figure out if what we had to plan out to, I don't know, at that point, Marybell didn't have insurance, even health insurance, because it wasn't active at the moment. So we thought, well, we have to pay, and it's probably going to cost us about a couple $100,000 or more. So that's what's going through our head. While she's taking her health part of the help, we're trying to figure out the part that's, the financial part, obviously, because that's the craziest part, because, when someone's in the hospital about to die, this was the situation that we thought was going to happen. We didn't know what was going to happen. So was it scary? Hell yeah, it was scary. So luckily everything went well, and now we're getting our ducks in a row. That's pretty much the story I can tell from my view, because she got herself together and got out. Now she's striving, and we could see it. But we're getting our ducks in a row, and we're still working on it because we got other stuff planned on in the future. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I have to say.
I can say that before Marybell went to the hospital, you could see signs of somebody who is overworking themselves and not taking care of themselves. For example, we have a family dinner. It's obviously, 6:30 at night, and she would come in and be like, oh my God, I'm so thirsty. I haven't even eaten all day. What's for dinner? And you're like, okay. And then every time it happens, every time a family dinner and event happens, so you knew, that in some regards that you weren't taking care of your body. Your time was solely prioritized on work, which of course you're, a single mom taking care of 2 kids. So it does require a lot of extra, time and attention and to be that person. And then eventually we went down this rabbit hole of overworking and not taking care of your body so much that we went into the hospital. And I think initially when you first went in, as you thought, it's going to be like a 3-day stay or something like that. And 3 days turned into 30 plus days in the hospital.
After surviving, I did something different. I stopped assuming. I started learning. And here's a fact most people don't know. Traditional life insurance only pays when you die. Life insurance with living benefits can pay you while you're alive, and it's tax-free. That means if life hits you hard, you can access money without loans, without selling assets, and without triggering taxes. Living benefits can pay out for critical illness like a heart attack, stroke, cancer, major organ failure. That money can be used for your medical bills, mortgage or rent, income replacement, or even travel for treatments. Living benefits can also pay for chronic illness if you can't perform 2 or 6 activities of a daily living. You may qualify. Those 6 are bathing, dressing, eating, toileting, transferring in or out of bed or a chair, and continence. This matters for long-term care, in-home assistance, and family caregivers. And if someone is diagnosed with a terminal illness, funds can be accessed early to eliminate debt, create memories, protect family, finances, and maintain a dignity and control. I didn't know any of this. I thought life insurance was only after you're gone. I had no idea it could protect you while you're here. And that lack of knowledge almost cost my family everything. I've seen families receive hundreds of thousands of dollars while still alive, covering medical bills, mortgages, and lost income because their policies were structured correctly. Unfortunately, mine wasn't. Then I realized something else. I didn't have a living trust. Most people think a will is enough. It's not. A will only works after probate, but it can be contested. It becomes public record and it costs time and money. A living trust is different. It avoids probate completely, keeps assets private, works immediately, and lets you control how and when assets are distributed. But here's what matters most. My trust isn't basic template. It's complete. It accounts for special needs, asset protection, and long-term care planning. That matters when you're protecting children, not just assets. This is why a basic will was never going to be enough for me. My living trust had to account for special needs planning, not just who gets assets, but how those assets are managed, who oversees them, and how my son is protected long term. That's the difference between hoping things work out and knowing that they will. This is where my partnership with the financial architects changed everything. Now everything is connected. My living trust, life insurance with living benefits, asset protection, tax-aware strategies, business continuity planning, not fragment, not reactive, intentional. Today, if something happened to me, my kids are protected. My assets avoid probate. My wishes are clear. My family doesn't have to guess. And here's the wild part. All of this would have cost less than $5,000 to set up correctly from the start, instead of almost losing over $1 million because I didn't understand the rules. If this story made you uncomfortable, that's okay. Discomfort creates clarity. Talk to someone, ask better questions, get structured, because financial planning isn't about death. It's about making sure the people you love are protected even if life doesn't go as planned. Click the link below. Don't wait for a wake-up call like mine.